Every big moment in my life has had the same pattern. My parents look at both their daughters. And somehow I'm the one they expect to understand. When my sister wanted the bigger room, they said, "You don't mind, right?" When she failed a class, they said, "Don't say anything, she's sensitive." When she crashed the car I wasn't even allowed to drive, they said, "Accidents happen, why are you making this about you?" I learned to sit at the edge of the table, smiling like it didn't sting. Then one day, I saw exactly what they'd planned for our future. My parents chose my sister over me again, this time in ink on paper. So I picked up a pen of my own and wrote a letter that made her scream, "You're joking!" so loud the whole street heard it. That's where this story really begins. I grew up as the other daughter. Not the only child. Not the golden child. Just the background one. My name is Alina. My sister's name is Sana. If you asked my parents on the spot who their difficult child was, they'd say Sana. If you asked who their strong, understanding one was, they'd say me every time. It sounds like a compliment until you realize what it really means. She gets softness, I get responsibility. She gets protection, I get "you'll manage." One of my earliest memories is the bunk bed. We lived in a small, slightly crooked house that always smelled faintly of cumin and detergent. Our room was narrow, painted a tired light blue that had started peeling at the corners. There was one new bed in the room, a shiny white metal bunk. When it arrived, I was 6 and Sana was 8. The top bunk was magic to me. Higher, closer to the window, with a rail that made it feel like a private fort. I remember standing in the doorway, hugging my stuffed bear, while my mom supervised the delivery guys. "Who gets which bunk?" one of them asked, half teasing. "Top is premium real estate." My mom laughed and said without a second of thought, "Sana will take the top. Alina is small. She can go on the bottom." I hadn't even opened my mouth to ask. Decision made. Sana squealed, climbed the ladder and claimed it. "Can I have it when I get bigger?" I asked later, looking up at her dangling feet. "We'll see," my mom said. "We'll see" in our house meant no, but I need time to package it politely. I never got the top bunk. Not once. Even when I'd grown taller than Sana. Even when my back started hurting from the old sagging mattress below. It was a small thing. But childhood is a mosaic of small things. And every little piece lined up the same way. Sana first. Me if there was anything left. At 10, I watched my parents celebrate Sana's dance recital like she'd won a national award. Flowers, photos, family dinner. My mom kept saying, "My star, my performer." I had gotten a school art prize that week. A drawing I'd stayed up late coloring, the ribbons still taped to the corner. Dad glanced at it on the fridge and said, "Very nice, beta," before changing the topic to Sana's costume. 13, Sana wanted a phone. She made a PowerPoint presentation for my parents literally with reasons like safety, coordination, and everyone else has one. They resisted for 2 days, then caved. I got to use it only if she was in a really good mood. At 15, when I asked for my own, Dad said, "What for? You go straight from school to home. You're not like your sister, always out. Why waste money twice?" That's when I realized something. In their heads, Sana's needs were urgent and essential. My needs were optional, negotiable, and often invisible. I internalized it. Became the helper. The reliable one. If Sana was upset, I'd be told to check on her. If Sana failed a test, I was asked to help her study. If Sana and I fought, I'd be the one asked to be mature. "You're stronger," my mom would say. "You don't break like her. But you can chip something without breaking it. And chipped things don't look damaged enough to be handled with care." I used to lie awake at night on my lower bunk, listening to Sana talk on the phone above me, giggling about boys and drama, while my mind made lists. Homework, chores, things I needed to remember for everyone else. It wasn't all cruelty. That's what made it confusing. My parents weren't monsters. They worked hard. They worried about bills, health, school fees. My mom would bring me tea when I stayed up late studying. My dad would smile when my report card was good and call me his sensible girl. But love without fairness leaves scratches. As we grew older, the pattern didn't change. It just got more expensive. Sana wanted extra tuition. Sana wanted name brand shoes. She's at that age. Let her have it. Sana wanted a gap year to find herself. She's not ready for the pressure yet. When I got a scholarship offer for a decent college in another city, my dad's first reaction was, "But how will your mother manage without you? You do so much at home." I remember that night clearly. The fan whirring above. The dim yellow light. The taste of cold dal stuck in my throat. Sana was in the living room watching TV. I sat at the table with my acceptance letter. "Baba," I said slowly, "I want to go." He sighed. "We're not stopping you. We're just saying, think about the family. You've always been our responsible one. If you go, who will help your mother? Who will keep Sana in line?" There it was again. My dreams, measured against everyone else's convenience. I wanted to scream. Who kept me in line when I was sad? Who helped me? Instead, I folded my acceptance letter carefully and said, "Can we at least try? Can we manage it for 1 year? If it doesn't work, I'll come back." My mom touched my shoulder. "If it's really what you want, we'll try." They did. To their credit, they did. And for the first time, distance showed me what my life looked like from outside the house. In college, when I introduced myself, nobody said, "Oh, you're Sana's sister." I was just Delina. My marks, my projects, my friends, mine. When I called home, the conversations were always the same. "How are things?" I'd ask. "Sana is still not serious," my mom would say. "She missed another exam. Your sister wants to start this or that course. It's expensive, but what to do?" Dad would sigh. "How about you?" they'd add at the end. "Everything okay?" I'd say yes, even when it wasn't, because their worry quota was already filled, with her. But away from home, I built something like a spine. I got internships, worked part-time, learned to sign my own rental papers, pay my own bills, cook my own sad, oversalted dinners. By the time I graduated and landed a job in a mid-sized firm, I knew one thing for sure. I never wanted to go back to being the girl in the lower bunk, waiting for permission to have a life. Still, I tried to be a good daughter. I sent money when I could. Visited when I could take leave. Brought gifts, listened to their complaints, asked about their health. Every time I came home, I'd see new evidence of their priorities. A new gold bracelet on Sana's wrist. A temporary loan they'd given her for some business idea that never materialized. Bills they were behind on because your sister had an emergency. I'd feel that old child self flare up. What about me? But then the older me would silence her. "You're doing okay. You don't need what she needs. Don't be small. Don't be selfish." So I made peace with being plan B in my own family. At least I thought I did. Until the day I found the folder. The one that showed me, in black and white, just how far they'd gone to keep Sana in the center. It wasn't an argument. It wasn't a shouting match. It wasn't even a dramatic moment. It was a boring Tuesday afternoon, my parents out at a doctor's appointment, me alone in the house, looking for an old document in the cupboard where they kept all the important papers. Receipts, old report cards, land documents, insurance policies. And then, hidden under a stack of files, I saw it. A neatly labeled folder with all our names on it. My father's. My mother's. Mine. Opened it. And in those pages, wills, asset plans, division notes written in my father's handwriting, I finally saw the future they had designed for us. I saw exactly where Sana stood. I saw exactly where I stood. And something inside me went very, very still. Because this wasn't just everyday favoritism anymore. This was legacy. This was the rest of our lives. And that was the moment I decided. If they were going to write my place in this family without talking to me, then I was going to write something of my own. Letter. One that would make my sister scream, "You're joking!" While my parents finally realized I was done playing the role they'd cast me in. The folder didn't look dramatic. No glowing aura, no sinister label. Just an old, slightly bent file with my dad's careful handwriting on the tab. Property and future plans, it said. I sat cross-legged on the bedroom floor, dust floating in the slanted sunlight. The ceiling fan whirred lazily above me. Somewhere outside, a vendor shouted about fresh vegetables. Felt like any other afternoon. Until I opened it. The first few pages were boring. Tax receipts, photocopies of IDs. A life insurance policy with my dad's neat signature at the bottom. Then I flipped to a page titled, in big underlined letters, Will Draft. Division of Assets. My heart tripped. There were names and percentages. Columns for house, plot, shop rental income, and gold. Next to house, I saw 70%. Sana. 30%. Alina. Right to stay if unmarried or in crisis, but ownership stays with Sana. I read it twice like maybe the letters would rearrange themselves. 70. 30. Next to shop rental income. Entire rent to go into Sana's account. She will support parents if needed. There was a note under it. Alina has a job and can stand on her own feet. Sana needs security. My stomach twisted. They hadn't even written "we assume." They had stated it like a fact. Like I was a finished story. And Sana was still in draft, needing extra pages. Gold was similar. Most of Mother's jewelry to Sana for her status as elder daughter. Some pieces to be given to Alina on her wedding. Not even equal share. Just some pieces, like a consolation prize. There were notes in the margins in my dad's scribble. Alina will understand. Don't mention yet, she'll see our intention later. Important to keep Sana stable, she is emotional. Every sentence felt like a pushback onto the lower bunk. I wasn't angry at the numbers first. I was angry at the assumption. That familiar sentence. Alina will understand. I could hear his voice, casual and sure, saying it to my mom at the dining table. She's strong. She'll manage. Sana, we have to give more to her. Otherwise she'll sink. My hands shook as I flipped further. A later page, more recent, had dates from just a few months ago. If we sell the small plot, money to go to Sana's business first. If anything remains, keep aside for emergencies, medical, etc. Don't complicate with too many people. We are 4, but realistically only 3 dependents. Only 3 dependents. And you didn't need a degree to know which one they meant wasn't dependent. My name was on that page. I just wasn't counted. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at the same line. My eyes started to sting around the edges. My face felt hot. It wasn't about greed. If you added it all up, it wasn't some massive inheritance. We weren't rich. It was a modest house, one small rental shop, a tiny plot on the outskirts they'd held onto as a dream, and my mom's jewelry collected over decades. It wasn't the amount. It was the message. When we are gone, Sana must be comfortable. Alina will survive. The background daughter doesn't need a safety net. She is the safety net. I heard the gate outside creak. Their voices. They were home. I shoved the folder back exactly where I'd found it. Hands moving on autopilot. Closed the cupboard. Smoothed my clothes. Wiped my face. My parents came in talking about medicine and blood pressure readings. My mom asked if I'd eaten. Said yes. My dad asked if I'd checked the gas connection. I said I had. Nobody noticed that I was quiet in a different way. At dinner, Sana breezed in late, lipstick still on, smelling like perfume and car air freshener. Ugh, the traffic, she complained, dropping her bag on a chair. Also, Baba, can you transfer that amount we talked about? The supplier is asking again. Dad nodded. Tomorrow morning, beta. Don't worry. You have enough. She nodded, then glanced at my plate. You still eat roti like a villager. Try salad sometimes. She laughed. No one said anything. I watched her. Really watched her. The eyeliner. The manicured nails. The casual assumption that of course the money would arrive. For a moment jealousy stabbed through me. Then something else stood up inside me. Something harder. Older. That night, lying on my childhood bed, staring at the faint cracks in the ceiling, I replayed my life like a highlight reel. The bunk bed. The art prize ignored. The phone I didn't get. The degree I almost didn't pursue. The ease with which they said, "She's strong. She'll understand." And now this. The future itself pre-allocated. Thought. If I leave things like this, I will be 40, 50, 60, still acting like an extra in my own story. Then another thought slipped in. Or could rewrite it. The idea wasn't fully formed yet. Started small as a question. What would happen if, for once, I didn't understand? What if I refused to silently agree to the version of my life they drafted? The next day I tested something. We were at breakfast. Toast tea, the usual morning rush. Baba, I said casually, do you have any plans about property? Like wills? Just curious. He tensed for just a fraction of a second. I wouldn't have noticed if I wasn't watching for it. It's too early to talk about such things, he said quickly. Why are you asking? You think we'll abandon you on the street? Sana laughed. Relax, drama queen. You already have your independent life. You'll probably be rich before them anyway. Mom reached over to pat my hand. We will treat you both fairly, don't worry. These things are in God's hands. Fairly. Not equally. Not transparently. Fairly in their dictionary meant, in a way that makes sense to us, and you must accept. Smiled. Just asking. I like to plan. My dad's eyes sharpened. Don't start filling your head with outside ideas, he warned. We know what's best for our family. Focus on your job. Let parents handle parent things. That confirmed it. They hadn't just drafted it. They were hiding it. I went back to my flat that evening with my mind buzzing. For 2 days I did nothing. I went to work, answered emails, had coffee, watched stupid videos on my phone at night. But under all that, something was brewing. On the 3rd day, the plan came together fast and strangely calm. I realized something important.